Are you aware that 70% of pastors constantly fight depression and burnout for the frustration experienced as a result of ministry workload, discouragement, and pressure? We help leaders grow healthy churches. We are excellent at what we do, and we are fast becoming the best of the very best. Magnicraft Consulting is set up to help both small and large-sized churches become healthier by using proven diagnostics tools, effective retention strategies. We give the right and appropriate and professional advice. We are the certified church consultants with the Society of Church Consulting in the United States of America. Trust us to help you grow. Don't wait till it's too late. You will be glad you did. Call us now on 0802-324-2258. Email contact@magnicraftconsulting.com or magnicraftconsulting@gmail.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram @Magnicraft Limited. Magnicraft Consulting. Doing church God's way. Hello. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Good morning to you all the way from the city of Abuja. I say welcome everyone to Monday Morning Matters coming your way live from the city of Abuja. This Monday Morning Matters coming your way over 6 years. I want to welcome everyone to this Facebook live broadcast show and YouTube channel. We want to welcome all our viewers all over the world watching us live. Thank you for hooking up with us. Thank you for telling us how timely our content is. We're glad you are part of this live broadcast show. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. All right, so Niyi Dunmade is my name. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Let me tell you a little bit about Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps local churches to grow healthier through empirical assessment, revitalization, and strategic blueprints. Those four things are very key. We use empirical assessment, we use revitalization efforts, we use training or increasing your capacity, and then strategic blueprint through ministry action plan. And our vision is very simple: to be the leading church health consultancy that creates actionable, sustainable, and adaptable solutions to churches. And so I want to say that we want to help you by creating more value to your church through our consultancy services. Okay? So please, I'm also a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting and Church Consultation University, both in the US. I'm your host every week, Facebook Live broadcast show, 7 a.m. Mondays, 7 a.m. Nigerian time, West African time, or GMT+1. I'm also blessed to be attributed to becoming the church health guide of the 21st century. Now, a big thank you to all those who have been sharing our content, telling us how timely our content is. We want to thank you so much. Now, today we're going to be talking about the disciple-making church. The disciple-making church, okay? The objective is very simple: to be able to help the churches, help our pastors, help our leaders to focus on shifting from simply gathering crowds to raising committed disciples who serve, lead, and reproduce spiritually. So what we're going to do is to make sure that we have a system that converts reaching to the unsaved to making disciples, all right, and converting from informing members of the church to equipping them. Then converting from programs to purpose, converting from activity to relationship, and then converting from accumulating to deployment. Now, for our church health framework has not changed. All right, it has not changed. All right, so this is it. Every church needs to have all these systems playing, but we're going to focus on the disciple making church. So for a church to be healthy, it must be a worshiping church, it must be a fellowshipping church, it must be a discipling church, it must be an evangelizing church, it must be a church that is given to serving the church and the community, and also must be a praying church. Now, the things I've said is a top side of Fishbowl diagram. I just did an assessment for a church last week, and of course the analysis is very, very mind-boggling. All right, so this is just the process. But I'm going to come back to this in a short while. All right, but then a church must know who their member is. Who is a member? Who is a worker? What are the characteristics? What are the features of a member and of a worker? And who is a disciple? Okay, how do we know that this person has the spiritual discipline to be called a disciple? Jesus didn't call us to make attendance. He didn't call us to increase attendance. That's why for me, I don't care about your attendance. Your attendance doesn't tell me anything about your health, really, because you can be 20 and be healthy, and you can be 20,000 and be unhealthy. So, but then Jesus didn't call us to make attendance. He called us to make disciples. So the crowd culture, especially in Nigeria, is there. We celebrate numbers more than looking for the number of disciples in terms of quality, ignoring depth and quality. Okay, producing consumers and not getting contributors. Okay, because what makes mature disciples is contributors, or not spectators. Now, it also leaves the church with this church vulnerable to high turnover. When you begin to have these numbers, attendance, crowd culture, you begin to be vulnerable to high turnover, or what I call jumping from one church to another. But then the disciple making culture is it focuses on transformation, imbibing those spiritual discipline, not just transactional. All right, producing leaders, not just listeners. Okay, people who just come to listen, or to get what they want to hear, but they want to be able to get people who will hear the truth and do something with the truth. Then the culture of a disciple making church is that it builds a strong multiplying believers, people who will go into the community to also make a mature disciple. That's the key mandate of the church, which is Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20. The Bible says, go and make disciples of all nations. Now, a disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like his teacher. That's the essence of discipleship. Now, what are the marks of disciple-making church? Clear path for growth. Churches must have a way of tracking growth so that people can be aware of their progression as they go through maturity. Now, how do you move? This is how you move from the community. The two ways at which they get into your church is through convert and guests. Convert and guest. And so there should be a form of assimilation system that gets them into the church to becoming members. And then when they become members, there should be some form of syllabus or training objectives that gets them from that guest, which is a believer's training platform, or for the convert to be making sure that they become disciples. And when they become disciples, you should have some other training and syllabus to move them to workers and leaders, as the case may be. It's just a simple process that you can just use for it, like a template for your church. All right, so we want to look at from new believers to growing believers to serving believers to disciple makers. That's just the process. All right, and you have to have platforms, classes, mentoring sessions, small groups that guides all these spiritual progressions in all the people that God has blessed us with. Now, discipleship cannot thrive without relationship. There must be a relational environment. And so discipleship happens best in relationship, in circles of relationship, not just in the rows, in the pews. All right, through small groups, through mentorship, through live-on-live connections. Relational environment is very, very key, because the discipleship is more about imbibing spiritual disciplines. And if you don't have a physical relational environment, it will be very difficult to get the spiritual virtues and discipline to be imbibed in the believers in your church. Now, empowerment for ministry, disciples are released to serving early. Don't wait until they are matured before they are serving. They should serve as much as they have been saved by Christ. So equipping the saints for the work of the ministry, that's what Ephesians chapter 4 verse 12 says. Now there has to be accountability in love. Growth is tracked. Growth that is tracked, that can be challenged and can be celebrated, will always make sure that your members follow that growth track. So growth should be tracked. Growth should be challenging to make sure that they exact themselves to what you want the disciple to be. And sometimes it's through some spiritual discipline. You can't be a disciple if you have not imbibed some discipline, and then you should have a way of celebrating those growth progression. True discipleship includes correction, encouragement, and responsibility with accountability. And so you cannot have a good discipleship process if there's no medium of unlearning, if there's no medium for correction, if there's no medium for instruction, if there's no medium for rebuke and encouragement and responsibility with accountability. Now, reproduction is the goal of discipleship. Don't just get people to be matured in your church as disciples, but the only way you can get your church to get the best out of that maturity is to make sure that that person becomes a reproducing disciple. A disciple isn't fully matured until they can disciple others. A disciple isn't fully matured until they can disciple others. Multiplication, not maintenance. God did not call us to maintain or to hit a target. God called us to a kind of movement, a kind of multiplication, a kind of exponential growth as a church. So I've told you what it is. We're shifting from attendance to assignment, because when we do the assignment, that's when God gives us the reward. It does not give us the reward because we attended the church. It gives us the reward because we are picking up the assignment. And so for you to be able to become a disciple-making church, you must move from just getting people to attend to getting people to engage with the mission or the mandate or the assignment of the church. What are the practical steps for church leaders and pastors? You have to reframe the wind. You see, when you don't define the goal, you might not be able to get a good, how will I put it? You're among the good players in the field. But when you have a goalpost, then everybody knows what they are playing. The goal is not how many came to church. You have to reframe the win. The goal is not how many people came to church. Sometimes when I was administrating my church and I get the attendance, you see, that tells us how many people came to church. But for me, it's not about how many people came to church. How many people did not come to church? Because those people that came to church were blessed by what happened in the church. But those people who didn't come to church did not get the benefits of what was shared in the church. But you see, the goal is not how many people came, but how many are growing and serving. You see, one of the statistics I have is how many people served in the church. Okay, and if you look at it very well, if your church is really growing, you will see that the people who are serving in your church per service is also growing. So you have to move from how many people came to church to how many people are growing and serving. Redefine the win. Redefine the success from seeking capacity to sending capacity, to participation capacity, to people who are engaging in gospel conversation week in, week out, and participating in the Great Commission, in the mandate of the church, as it were. Now, redefine your Sunday service to connect. Don't allow people to just come to church. Use Sunday service to inspire, but weekday systems to disciple. You cannot be, you all know that discipling people on Sunday is not successful because of infrequency of attendance. If you want to understand that, I've done that live broadcast on infrequency of attendance. See, but weekday is where you can create the effective system to disciple through small groups, sermon-based small groups, follow-up mentorship session, and then develop a leadership pipeline. All right. I mean, from the framework I just shared to you, at the end, you can see that when you have workers and volunteers and disciples, you can now begin to have a training objective or a syllabus to get people through leadership. All right. Create intentional processes where disciples become leaders. Apprenticeship model is very, very good. Watch me as I do it, and then watch me and do it alone, and then watch me as you teach other person to do it. That's a model. So apprenticeship model, people are watching you as they are doing it, then they are watching you and then doing it, and they are watching you and then they are able to do it alone, and then they are also watching you and then they are teaching someone else. That's the apprenticeship model. And you can also contextualize this in your discipleship process to make sure that people get to a point whereby they are also discipling other persons in the church. Delegate discipleship. Don't centralize it on yourself as a set man of the church. Don't make sure that every discipleship that goes on in your church is all around you. You cannot disciple more than 15 persons at a go. So don't make discipleship a pastor-only job. Most people also want to employ pastors that will be able to carry out the discipleship process in the church, but equip small group leaders, ministry heads, departmental heads, even matured members to disciple other persons who are not discipled in your church. Celebrate stories, not just statistics. Sometimes the numbers might not get you the full picture of what's going on, but when you get to understand the stories, you understand the emotion behind the numbers, and then you celebrate the stories, not just the statistics that you get. Share testimonies of life-changing stories, not just attendance report. Highlight discipleship wins in your services and your leadership meetings. Jesus fed 5,000, but discipled 12. You can see the statistics has changed. And through them, through those 12 disciples who became 12 disciples who became 12 apostles, they were able to impact and change the world. I want to just understand that let the crowd, the fury of the crowd should decrease, and let focus on disciples, because disciples is what will last, and disciples is what will make our world, make the impact in our world better. You can create generational impact by just building disciple-making church. You can also do that by making sure that your church becomes resilient against the culture shift. Your ministry continues even when you are gone. And when you are able to create a discipleship system that is not revolving around you, you can be able to continue to mature disciples that will make impact in the community. The future belongs to the church that disciples, not just gathering the attendance. So when you want to see a church that is going to make future impact, it belongs to churches that are making disciples. I'm praying for you today that God will give you wisdom to prioritize discipleship over popularity and celebrity, and help you build your church so that you can begin to multiply and not just maintain the status quo. You begin to raise disciples who serve, lead, reproduce, and make sure that every leader that you have in your church shifts from just attendance to the mission and the assignment that Jesus Christ has given to the church. Pastors, don't just count your members, multiply your disciples. And the church that disciple will never lack leaders, passion, or impact that they need to go into the community. Now, if this message stirs up you, share it to your fellow leader. Make sure that next Monday, where we're going to talk about healthy church, healthy leaders, aligning cultures, strategies, and the spirit, don't miss out on that. If you have any church-related questions for me, let's have them in any of the social media handles. I'm sure you're going to get more than an answer from me. This video has been helpful to you. Please give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up, to share us your community. Drop me a comment in the comment section what you feel about the things you have heard from me. Drop me a comment in the comment section. If you want us to come and train your church or to do consultation for your church over some of the things, I must tell you, disciple making church that I've just done in 20 minutes is more than this. There's so much to learn. like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, subscribe onto our YouTube channel, turn on the notification bell so that when we upload a valuable content, you will be notified. All right, we do consultation, we do revitalization, we do trainings, we do strategy planning for churches. Reach out to us and let's see how we can help your own church with excellent church consulting for health, vitality, and result. I'm consulting for a church right now, and you see, I'm so happy that just the engagement alone is the pastor said, I'm so happy with what I'm feeling already, because I'm going to be asking quite a lot of questions that nobody else has ever asked you in the history of your church. So let's give you excellent church consulting for health, vitality, and result. Thank you for the attention, and may God bless each and every one of you as you have a fruitful week ahead till I come your way next week with another topic. Say bye-bye, love you, and God bless you. Thank you so much.